Ever feel stuck when trying to come up with social media post ideas? What if I told you that you could generate post ideas automatically using N8N? With this automation, you just drop a YouTube video link or a blog post URL, and boom, you get fresh content ideas in seconds. The first step in this automation is to create a structured table in Airtable, which will serve as the foundation for storing and organizing your content. This table should include the following key columns. URL column. This is where you will input the link to a YouTube video or a blog post. To ensure proper formatting and validation, set the field type to URL. Social media ideas column. Create a long text field to store generated post ideas for different platforms. You can name this column something like LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as it will contain tailored content for each platform. Created time column. This column automatically records the exact date and time when a new entry is added. Last modified time column. This field logs the latest update made to a record, helping track changes and modifications. Although you won't always need the created time and last modified time columns, they can be incredibly useful if you decide to trigger the automation at a specific time. I always include them as a best practice for added flexibility and future workflow adjustments. Now let's move on to N8N, where we'll build the automation. You can find this automation in my Skool community. Simply download it from there, then click on the three small dots and select Import from File to load the workflow. The first node in this automation is When Clicking Test Workflow. This node ensures that the automation runs whenever you manually click the Test Workflow button. Next, let's configure the Airtable. Search Record node. First, authenticate with your Airtable account to establish a connection. Under Base, select the appropriate database. In this case, it is set to by ID, with the ID corresponding to your Airtable base. Next, choose the table you want to retrieve data from. This is also set by ID, ensuring that N8N fetches records from the correct table. In the Filter by Formula field, you can apply specific conditions to refine the search. For now, this field is left empty, meaning it will pull the most recent records without filtering further. Make sure Return All is toggled off so only a limited number of records are retrieved. Set the limit to 1 so the workflow processes only the latest record. Now under Sort, choose the field as Last Modified Time and set the direction to Descending. With these settings, the automation will fetch the most recently modified entry from your Airtable table and use it for the next steps in the workflow. Now let's configure the Text Classifier node. This node will categorize the input URL to determine whether it's a YouTube link or a blog post. Under Text to Classify, we use the expression JSON URL. This dynamically extracts the URL from the previous Airtable node, allowing the classifier to analyze it. Next, we set up the categories. YouTube link, applied when the input is a YouTube video. Blog post, covers any non-YouTube URLs, including blog posts or external articles. At this point, the automation will analyze the provided URL and classify it accordingly. This classification will help determine the next steps in the workflow. For the text classifier node, we always need to use a model to process and categorize the input text. In this case, I use the OpenAI chat model to analyze the provided URL and classify it as either a YouTube link or a blog post. By leveraging OpenAI, the automation ensures accurate classification, making it easier to generate relevant social media post ideas based on the type of content. For the text classifier node to function properly, we need 2 additional nodes, HTTP request nodes. I'm using a service called Dumpling AI, which processes the classified content. If the URL is a YouTube link, the workflow routes it to the Dumpling YouTube node, which sends a post request to the Dumpling AI API. If the URL is a blog post, it follows the Dumpling blog path, triggering another post request to process the content accordingly. These nodes ensure that each type of content is handled in the most relevant way. Now, let's configure the Dumpling YouTube node, which sends a request to Dumpling AI to process YouTube video content. First, set the method to post. Enter the URL you will get for this endpoint. You will find it on the Dumpling AI website. For authentication, leave it as none since we'll handle authorization via headers. Next, enable send headers and add an authorization header. Name, authorization, value, bearer your API key. Make sure to replace your API key with your actual API key. Enable send, body, set. Body content type to JSON and specify the request body as follows. Parameter name, video URL, include timestamps. Set to true, ensuring that the transcript includes timestamps for better reference. Timestamps to combine. Set to 5, which means the output will group every 5 timestamps together, making the transcript more structured and readable. Preferred language. Set to an N, ensuring that the transcript is generated in English. With these settings, the request is sent to Dumpling AI, which processes the YouTube video and returns a structured transcript. This transcript will be essential for generating social media post ideas in the next steps. Once executed, the API returns a transcript of the video, which we can use in the next steps of the automation. Now, let's configure the OpenAI node to generate tailored social media posts based on the extracted YouTube transcript. First, connect your OpenAI account and set the resource to text and the operation to message a model. For the model, select GPT-4o Mini, ensuring fast and high-quality content generation. In the Messages section, we define the prompt you will see on the screen. For the prompt, you can customize it to fit your exact needs. Here, you can add your own instructions to generate the type of social media posts you want. Next, set the role to user, ensuring the model processes the request from our perspective. Next, enable Simplify Output and Output Content as JSON, making the response structured and easy to process. Once executed, this node returns social media-ready content formatted specifically for each platform, making it easy to post or schedule directly. Now let's configure the Airtable update node to store the generated social media posts back into our Airtable database. First, connect your Airtable account and set the resource to record with the operation set to update. Under Base and Table, select the same Airtable base and table used earlier in the workflow. For ID, using to match, we drag the ID from the schema. This ensures that the correct record is updated in Airtable. Next, we map the AI-generated content to the appropriate columns. Now, let's configure the Google Docs node to automatically store the generated posts inside a document. First, connect your Google Docs account and set the resource to document with the operation set to update. In the doc ID or URL field, enter the ID of the Google Doc where you want the content to be saved. Next, under Actions, set Action to Insert. Insert segment as body. Insert location as end of specific position. For the text field, I dynamically structure the content as you see on the screen. Now, let's go back to the Dumpling AI scraping module, specifically for processing blog posts. In the Dumpling blog node, we set up an HTTP request to extract content from a blog URL. First, set the method to post and enter the URL you see on the screen. For authentication, keep it as none, and instead enable send headers. Under header parameters, add authorization value. Bearer enter your API. Next, enable send body content type to JSON and add the body parameters. Name, URL, value, JSON, URL. Along with the URL field, we have additional body parameters that fine-tune how the blog content is extracted. Format. Set to Markdown, ensuring the scraped content is structured and easy to process. Clean. Set to True, which removes unnecessary HTML tags and extracts only the main text. Render JS. Set to True, allowing Dumpling AI to load JavaScript-based content before extracting the text. This dynamically pulls the blog URL from the text classifier node and sends it to Dumpling AI, which extracts the blog content. Once the request is processed, the response will contain the scraped text, which we will use in the next automation steps. The next module is an OpenAI node, just like the one we configured earlier. It follows the same process for generating social media content based on the extracted blog post. After that, we have another Airtable update node, which works exactly as before, storing the newly generated posts in the appropriate fields. Since these steps are identical to what we've already covered, you can simply rewind the video and check the previous parameters if needed. Now, let's test the automation to see it in action. All you have to do is choose a YouTube video that you like or want to create a social media post from. Copy the URL of the YouTube video. Paste the URL into the designated Airtable field. Head over to N8N, open the workflow, and click the test workflow. In just a few moments, the automation will extract the key content from the video, generate tailored social media posts, and save them back into Airtable, ready for publishing. And that's it. You now have a fully automated system that converts YouTube videos and blog posts into ready-to-use social media content with N8N, Airtable, OpenAI, and Dumpling AI. If you found this automation helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my Skool community where you can download this workflow and many more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.